This podcast is brought to you by Watson Motors, the official studio sponsor. If you're in need of a Jeep, Ram, or Dodge, or whatever, these guys have you covered with great deals and even better service. So hit them up in Manistee, Benzie, or Ludington, or check them out online at watsonmotors.com. Listen, support the people that support the show. Now let's get into it. Let's get right into it. I'm going to try not to say the F word. We're going to go 5 minutes without saying the F word today.
All right, we'll see how that goes.
I always get nailed. I say it too much.
You get flagged on YouTube or
if you start off banging it out at the beginning, they're downgrading like crazy. But I'll be honest with you, YouTube, I got a pretty good thing going on YouTube, but really it's Spotify's where it's at. This morning actually, I haven't quite broke the top 200, but I hit 201.
That's good.
Oh, I almost said the F word. Yeah, that's pretty rad, dude. It's pretty sick. I'm stoked about it.
That's
cool. Where was I going here?
So you just can kind of feed content to wherever you see it.
So I use Spotify for podcasters. It's a creator app, and as soon as I hit go, it sends it everywhere except for YouTube. I have to upload separately to YouTube, but this sends it everywhere. iTunes, Google. Yeah. So
nice.
It's getting out there. Okay, so we got the toilet. So we need to talk about.
We got to talk about that.
Roaming restrooms. Yeah. Let's just get going on that right away. Yesterday, I went onto your website and I watched the YouTube video. It's pretty sick. Yep. These things. I'm going to put a link to this, roamingrestrooms.com, but I'll put a link in the show notes. It's I didn't know something like this existed, and it's pretty cool, dude. Especially like you were at a wedding trade show, you said. But if to go back to my wedding day, if we'd have had something like this, we had it at the state park, our wedding. Oh yeah. And the bathrooms there were fine, but there's only two. Yeah. Right. This would have been pretty rad to have there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, climate control.
These aren't porta-johns.
Yeah. So not a porta-john. Much nicer than a porta-john. It's basically, think about a camper without everything in it. It's just got the bathroom, right? A camper bathroom, basically, and you've got different stalls, heat, AC, warm water, running water. Some of these bathrooms, they're probably nicer than the bathroom in my house. And it's so much nicer than a porta-john. You can get them just about anywhere. We can run them off a generator. We can run them with onboard water.
This episode is brought to you by Brandon Ball, broker-owner of Dwelling Realty, Keller Williams, Northern Michigan. Are you looking to sell your home? Then look no further. When you list your home with Brandon Ball, you'll get a trusted advisor who will guide you through the entire selling process. With extensive knowledge of the local market, he'll help price your home competitively to attract the right buyers. And with proven marketed strategies, your home will be seen by the most qualified of buyers. With 17 years in the business, you'll have someone experienced who's on your side. Contact Brandon today to get started selling your home. 231-690-4981. That's 231-690-4981. Or Brandon at dwellingrealty.com.
Waste tanks are on board, so you can kind of get them anywhere. And to your point, with having bathrooms even at the wedding, a lot of times people will rent these because they have bathrooms there, but it's not enough, right? They've got 300 people coming to this wedding. They've got 2 bathrooms at the venue. They need a trailer. They need to add to that. And rather than have, it was funny, we were at the wedding expo, and this girl came up and she was like, I need one of these because there's no way in hell I'm getting in a porta-john with my wedding dress on. We're like, yeah, you probably don't want to do that. So, it's an interesting business. We didn't ever really see ourselves getting into it, but somehow we ended up in it, and we're in the ship business now. And
you're in the ship?
Yeah.
So, you can poop in luxury. How did you get into this?
So a lot of people have asked me that, and I don't know where it came up. So I guess backstory, I've always wanted to have my own business eventually, and so I kind of was looking around trying to buy a business because I kind of thought, well, I'd rather just step into something that's kind of already got the wheels turning. I can step in, I can quit my day job, just get into that. That was pretty difficult. Got into a lot of, got to the table with a lot of them.
Can you say what they were?
Yeah, I was looking at fabrication. So my background's welding engineering. So I went to Ferris for weld engineering, kind of got into the manufacturing world, welding world, that kind of stuff. It's just still where I work today. That's my day job. I work in industrial sales, so I'm in plants all the time. I'm in the manufacturing. I thought, well, if you're going to start a business, you got to start something you know. So kind of started looking at fabrication companies and just kept running into the things like didn't have enough money, or customer concentration was super high. So, this company, they're generating millions of dollars in revenue, but it's from 2 customers, which is pretty risky for a buyer to come and I'm going to have a whole lot of overhead and loans to then risk that. So it kept kind of getting like kicked in the teeth, going through that, where like you don't have enough money. This didn't work out for whatever reason or another. And I looked at a couple different, handful of businesses over the last couple of years, and also have been shrink wrapping boats and campers. So that's kind of been a side gig for me for a long time. Been doing that for a while, and I had kind of the idea to kind of grow that more commercially over the past couple of years, but slow go. I mean, shrink wrapping people's boats and campers is pretty easy business to get in terms of I can put a Facebook ad out and a lot of people are going to see it. A lot of people are going to say, yeah, you can come shrink wrap my boat. But trying to break into like the shipping companies and the export companies and all that to do like big machinery, that's a little harder. So I was like, well, I've got this seasonal business. I'd like to grow it full time. I could do a whole lot more of the seasonal business if I wasn't stuck just shrink wrapping after work,
right?
Especially in the fall when the time changes. So I was like, well, what can I add on? Like what would fit? What would maybe fill the summer up? And I kind of somehow came around. I think I saw one of these trailers for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and I'd been to a couple weddings that had them, and I'm like, I wonder if I should buy one of those. And so kind of called around some of the places that do it, and I was like, hey, I got a wedding this summer. When do I have to book? Like, do you guys get booked up? And they were all like, yeah, if you don't get us by early spring, we're booked up.
Dude, smart move though, calling around.
Like, okay, that tells me there's demand, and these places all had like 10 trailers plus. I was like, well, if they've got 10 trailers and they're booked up by spring, I should be all right. There's demand, right? And kind of looked, and we live in Spring Lake now, but we love coming up to Manistee, and I'm like, well, this is also a way for us to maybe provide a business that could cover Manistee as well. Being from here, we've always wanted to kind of start a business to like be part of a community and kind of have that aspect of it. And so being able to stretch that up here, it's not that far of a drive, would be cool. So we kind of dove in and bought a trailer, in the process of buying a couple more, and we'll have a handful of trailers by summer, and it's been going good so far. We've got a lot of bookings so far.
How many trailers do you have?
I'm gonna have 3 total.
So you have the 5, the 3 stall, and the 2?
Yeah, 2 stalls, 3 stalls, and 5 stalls. Yeah.
Wow.
So
what's the cost of entry? Like, how much do these things cost?
More than you think.
Yeah, I think they definitely cost a lot.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was surprised when I saw it. I went to a trade show in Daytona when I first started kind of thinking about this, and this is one of those things where like I'm sure I know I annoy the shit out of my wife with it at times, because I'm like, when I get an idea like this, I'm like, I go start up the bulldozer and I'm like, here we go. She's like,
that's exactly like me. And my wife's usually like, fucking, oh, there it is. Yep. She's like, reel that shit in.
Yeah.
You know
she's
what
like, well, wait, what? We're doing what? like, yep, this is what we're doing. We're going to go. She tries to slow me down, and, I do need to get better with it and being more communicative of like these harebrained ideas that I get. Yeah. But yeah, I just go fire up bulldozer and here we go. So I'm like, kind of told her I was going to go down there. I don't think she believed me. And I'm like, bought my ticket. I'm going down there next week. She's like, seriously? Well, anyway, long story short, it was all good. I went down there, learned a ton about it, but kind of forgot where I was going with that. Oh, learn about kind of how much these things are. They're like it's 50 grand a trailer, roughly.
Yeah, I was thinking you were somewhere around 150.
Yeah.
For all three.
Yeah. So you're around that, give or take, depending on what size trailer you get and how you do it. Yeah, I went down to that trade show. I forget where I was even going with that, but went down there, and I guess moral of that was I learned there's a lot more to that business than I thought. I was thinking weddings and events. I get down there, start talking to people, and most of the people that get into it are like, at some point, they're like, yeah, weddings and events are secondary. You know, we're doing gas stations when they do a remodel. We're doing Walmart when they do a remodel in the bathroom. Bathroom takes a shit at Chase Bank. We're taking our trailer over there and renting it for them for a week, or huge construction sites. You know, a lot of times they'll do a lot of porta-johns, but then they want to hold some nicer bathrooms for, you know, management, visitors, that kind of stuff. So there's a whole nother world to it that, you know, eventually that's the goal, is to get into all of that. But I mean, weddings and events, that'll be the bread and butter.
Do you have anything close as far as competition around you?
Yeah, so there's a couple, 2 or 3 big players. When I say big players, like big players in the porta-john industry.
Yeah.
Do a lot of porta-johns, and then they've got trailers. And what I've found, and where, I guess, if you think about differentiation, anybody can have a trailer and that kind of stuff, but what I've been seeing and hearing around is like a lot of these companies that got into it, they started with porta-johns, added trailers, and they're trying to run the trailer business like a porta-john business. They're all great companies. I'm partnering with a lot of them here and there. We're trading trailers, but what I've kind of noticed is they kind of treat the trailer industry like porta-johns, and trailers are a little different. You need a little more.
A lot different.
You need a little more touch with the customer, right? It's somebody's big wedding day. You know, what do you need? How do you need it? What do you need us to do? Can we contact the venue for you? You know, what service can we provide to you so that you don't have to think about this? It's just done and your bathroom's there. That's kind of how we want to approach it, rather than the volume game from the porta-john industry, which is like, oh, you want this? Here you go. It's,
yeah, dude.
know,
like I use porta-john companies for my events, and I can see the obvious difference is, you know, you're kind of in line with the event coordinator too.
Yeah.
So if it's a bigger wedding, you're speaking to the event coordinator. It's like the caterer. You know, you tell me what you want on the menu, we're going to handle it. It's all going to be set.
Yep.
And you know, there is a big delineation there. There's a big difference. And I got excited going through all your shit. I'm like this. But
no pun intended.
It's a really awesome business model, and I think that it really is something that like I said, if I would have known this was around when I was getting married or for any other events, like, why wouldn't you spend a little extra to make it nicer?
Yeah, for sure.
Know? Yeah. I mean, we had, and I'm sure, so I got a little story about porta-johns, but your setup, say, for example, are you on site managing the unit, or is this something where you say, okay, this is how you do it? Like the YouTube, you open up the doors, it's ready to go, everything's already set, or is this something that...
It can be either way. So typically how it's going to work is I'm going to show up. So here's kind of how I would run through it with somebody is, if you've got a Saturday wedding, I'm going to tell you I'm probably going to drop it off on Friday. Yeah. Because I don't want you to worry about whether or not your trailer is going to be there on your wedding day. We don't want to worry about whether, you know, oh, there's a snag in our water hose. We got a problem. Saturday morning, you're getting married that day. You don't want to worry about that, and neither do I. Yeah. So we're going to set it up Friday, and I'm usually going to ask, is there an uncle, a cousin, somebody who's fairly handy that's going to be there the whole time, that's kind of involved, that I can be as he can be my contact, I can be his, and I'm going to run through everything with the trailer with him. Here's where, you know, the waste tank level indicator is. Here's where the circuit breakers are. Here's where everything is. If the lights shut off in this thing halfway through the wedding, you kind of know where to look. And by the way, here's my cell phone number, call, text, whatever. Yeah. Or I'll be out there, you know, if you need to. But typically the biggest problem that happens is like, we just need one 20 amp circuit to plug into. And if the DJ plugs in his shit and the caterer plugs in a few things like the same circuit, it's probably going to pop a circuit at the venue side, and then the trailer goes off, and then people are like, what do we do? And they're worried about the trailer, but a lot of times it's that. So just running through that with somebody is kind of how we would do it. And if they want an attendant on site, we can do that too. I think that's a little bit rarer of a circumstance where somebody would want that, but if they do, absolutely, whatever they need.
So I've been using the same I can't remember the name of the Porta-John company. I usually have to go in my email and pull up the last time I typed in Porta-John, and they pop up, and then I just schedule the stuff. But last year, they dropped off the Porta-Johns a week early, like just randomly.
Yeah.
And I use private property for 2 of the areas. And I'm like, you can't just have this sitting on the side of the road for a week.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, well, this is, we like to be ahead of it or whatever. I'm like, you can't be ahead of it here because people are going to shit in this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want my athletes at 5 o'clock in the morning to walk into an outhouse.
Yeah, what is this? Yeah.
Yeah, I want it clean. So pick them all up. So they had to come pick them all up. And I said, this is, like I said in my email, this is when I want them delivered. The day. So then the Friday before the event last year, we had some issues at Duffy Park with some drug activity and people. Hey, listen, it is what it is. We got people that don't have places to go. They use the outlets to charge the phones and shit. Those, I'm sure, are great people, but we also have some drug problems over there. Yeah. And Friday morning last year, I just pulled my truck in, and the Porta-John company was pulling up. I'm like, all right, great, because we're getting ready to set up base camp here at the Porta-Johns, but there's 2 cars parked where the Porta-Johns are supposed to go. And I got my buddy Tom with me. He's probably 10, 20 paces behind me, and another guy. My buddy Tom is an ex, narcotics detective from Grand Rapids. Yeah. So he's always on alert.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
On the lookout.
But I'm walking up to this car, and I see somebody in it, and I could hear Tom behind me going, just wait, like he was going to come up. And I walked up, and there's a dude in there, fucking, got the lean to him but he's naked as a jaybird. I mean, it's all right there to see. Car's full of shit. He's got a fucking crock pot next to him.
Okay.
You can still see food in it.
Yeah.
And I'm just banging on the door, and he looks up at me, and I'm like, and he just peels out of there, and my buddy's like, what? He's just leaving? And I'm like, hey, I don't know where he's going, or if he's okay, but he fired that thing up and left. And I'm like,
wow,
this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If those Porta-Johns had been there for a week,
Yeah, you probably would have been inside of one of those.
Inside of them, or just wrecked.
Yeah. It's a funny story that you say that about delivering early and no communication. I just had that conversation with a wedding event, a venue owner who's like, we're kind of looking for someone else because the last place we had, they dropped a trailer off and they didn't pick it up for like 3 weeks, and we're like, we gotta get this thing out of here. And there was no communication on it, and like completely how we don't want to be, right? And that's kind of where we're trying to lean on the customer service side because of stuff like that, right? And not that any of these other companies are bad, but they've got a lot going on too. And maybe they can't pay as much attention on, to the event side. Whereas this is all we do, like just trailers, just luxury trailers for events and construction, stuff like that. So that's kind of how we want to run it, is like, this is like our niche specialty. We're not doing all the other stuff. So we can pay attention to you and make sure you get what you need from it.
Where did this drive to be an entrepreneur, to build businesses, come from?
I don't know. I guess I've always kind of wanted to do it. Even when I was graduating from college, I remember talking to one of my professors about like, hey, what do you think I should do after this? Should I go get my MBA right away? Or should I wait and go into industry? Because I kind of wanted to get that financial background. Not that an MBA was ever going to like qualify me to own a business, but I thought maybe it gets me a little bit of financial business acumen, some background. So I kind of always had that thought that that's what I wanted to do. Wish I would have done it a lot sooner, long time ago, 35, starting a business, still fairly young, but man, I wish I would have done this when I was 25 and didn't have such a, I was just talking to someone the other day. It's like when you start it at this point, you've got a lot more experience, but at the same time, like, you're a lot further along in your career, so you make more money than you did back then, and to overcome that with a business now, it's like you got to get over that hump. Whereas before, when you don't have kids or you're not married, and you're just it's just you in an apartment.
I mean, I think
you can start a business and not take a lot of money out of it and be okay.
Yeah,
you know. So
I think the founder mindset. I really don't think it matters at what age you start.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm constantly thinking about the next thing I'm going to sink my teeth into.
Yeah.
It is it's a disease. Because I look hard at some businesses. Mm-hmm. Like, why are you doing it that way?
Yeah.
You know, why wouldn't you try to do this? Why wouldn't you try to leverage this? Why wouldn't you try to promote this more? You know, the little things that can elevate a business, you know, and I'm constantly in my wife's ear, like, man, what do you think we could do with this? Like, kind of like you said, with your wife. We started, man, I was 35.
Yeah.
As soon as I started putting pen to paper for Manistee Beverage, I was, you know, and then 3 businesses after that. It was just put the pen to paper, do the market analysis, you know, and it's like, all right, I had spent 2 decades in beer and wine. So, like,
I was going to ask how you got it.
Like, I mean, I had you know, I had the knowledge. Well, number one, I had product knowledge.
Yeah.
But I had, like I said, 2 decades where I worked in every facet of the beer and wine industry except for drive a semi. I started working in warehouses when I was 16, merchandising, selling, managing, district managing.
Yep.
And, you know, having kids, changing careers because, you know, in the beer and wine industry, traditionally on the road a lot, especially when I was, you know, managing large amounts of salespeople, traveling constantly.
Yep.
So kind of redirect the mindset, like, what can I do closer to home? And then I don't know what came over me one day, but I'm like, God, I really think that a really good liquor store would work in Manistee. And the business itself changed multiple times before we even opened. Like, originally, the property was up for sale. It had been up for sale for a number of years. Absolutely nailed it at the right time on buying that.
Yeah.
Amazing how solid that purchase was. But then it was like, all right, we own a building. We need to get a liquor license, which was
that's easier said than done,
bigger
right?
hurdle. In that I had originally thought, well, if we just, because you can get a what they call a redevelopment license.
Okay.
As long as you do $70,000 worth of upgrades to the property, you can buy a redevelopment license for $20,000, but it stays attached to the property. So if I sold the property, that I don't get to keep the license.
Okay.
Like if I wanted to move to another building. Anyway, so looking for a license, you have to buy an existing license. State of Michigan just doesn't give you one.
Yeah, isn't there? I don't know that world very well, but isn't there like a finite amount of licenses? And
what is already out?
Yep.
Either in operation or in escrow. They don't create new licenses.
So somebody has to go out of business, or
you have to buy,
sell
their business,
or be done with their business for that to then be available. That's why
I worked. So the deals were, I had originally, because my background is strictly in beer and wine. We just wanted what they call an SDM license, which is a beer and wine license, and there was one available that had been in escrow for 5 years. The business was shut down. Yeah. The guy wasn't doing anything with it. And I knew this fucking guy. Like, I'd known him a long time. So I just called him and said, hey, I'm interested in buying your license. How much? Now, at the time, 12 years ago, the market has vastly changed. But anyways, he was like, I'll sell it to you for $5,000. And I'm like, deal. I'll have my lawyer call you, and we'll get this thing set. he ghosted us, like all of a sudden. Like I think people were chirping at him.
Yeah.
And then he was like, hey, I finally got a hold of him. I'm like, hey, dude, what's going on? I'm like, I'm ready to move on this thing. And he's like, I changed my mind, $25,000. And then I was like, well, you're on crack, because that's 10x what this thing's worth. I'm already paying you more than it's worth 12 years ago. See, the market dictates the price.
Yeah.
And this is way too high. So my lawyer got in touch with a broker who found the license that we bought. And it came with liquor. So I was like, all right, so we're going to shift gears a little bit. We'll get in liquor. And then it was like a learning curve of how to, what liquor to buy, educate myself on liquors, spirits, because I had zero.
Yeah.
It was just mostly, I built my liquor business on, you walked in and said, hey, could you get this? I'd buy it from you. Yep. So boom, it would go up. And then gradually I got more and more knowledgeable on spirits, built some phenomenal relationships with like Iron Fish, and they were great partners the whole time that we were in business. And we reached a point where we had a 10-year plan for the business. So that was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. Was some founders are forever. Like, this is my baby. I'm going to run this thing for the rest of my life. I love this this business. And some of them are like me, and I'm like, well, what's the end game? I want to sell this thing. Yeah. So we had a 10-year plan. We wanted to sell the business in 10 years. We sold it in 7. But I had got to a point. I mean, I fucking loved that store. I had a ton of fun down there. And I really got to the point where it was running itself. I had great team members. Danny, my general manager, he came on board, and it was just like boom, 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 boom. He was running the thing for me. I was able to do other things. It was great. We were peaking. We had hit the numbers we wanted to hit like year 2. So I was already like, all right. And then as we progressed up and up and up, I'm like, all right, we're reaching a ceiling here. So we have 2 options. We can look to sell it now, or I was looking at the US 31, like doing like a big mega bev type situation where we had 3,600 square feet down here. I was looking at 10,000 square feet. Like, all right, so now the scale is gonna, and in order to fill that, I mean, we had at our peak about $250,000 in inventory down there. So I'd be looking at $1 million. Just to make it look like it was something. Right. You know what I mean? And plus then scale staff. And I looked at my wife and my daughter. My youngest daughter, Mary, she was born and we were creating Manistee Beverage. So she's 10 now. She was, 7 or 8 when we sold it. And I'm like, I'm 47 years old now. It's like, I don't want to grind like this anymore. So let's figure it out. And that's what we did. Nice. And it was a huge win. But that's what I wanted to chat with you about. Like, what's your, because I'm like I said, I'm really always kind of looking to sink my teeth into something, but I always kind of fall back on what I know. And what I know is I don't want to do the same thing again. I'd really much rather kind of be like, if it's something I really believe in, here's a check. Where you kind of invest more than, you're not investing the sweat equity anymore. You're just, here's some money. And I'm not going to fucking say anything. Just write me checks back when it starts doing well. You know? That's a great place to be in. And that's, eventually that would be awesome to be in that position where I can start to do that kind of stuff, be more silent. I think for me, what I would like I'm in a business right now that I, no pun intended, don't know shit about, really. The grand scheme of things, like I come from a manufacturing background. Now I'm going to be pumping out, restroom trailers and doing that whole thing. But I understand the customer service side of it. And I think that's really where it's at, is like, as soon as you kind of understand that, you can get into, just about anything. And I, for the longest time, thought I had to have a background in something to get into it. Had to have a background in manufacturing. That's why I was going down that route.
thought, HVAC, roofing, all those home services business, like that's a really popular thing right now. You can make a lot of money doing that. But I'm like, I didn't grow up in construction. I didn't grow up working for my uncle's, construction or whoever's construction company, like people do. And then they kind of transition to that because they work for some family member or whatever. I didn't have that. I didn't have any family member in construction or anything. So it's like, oh, well, that's out. And I think what I kind of found is you just figure it out as you go, You don't have to have a background in it. And so I'm with you. I don't think I need a background in something to get into it. My goal here is to kind of this is getting things going, because I overanalyzed for a long time and found a lot of reasons not to do something, and this will never work. I mean, my engineering analytical brain kept holding me back, because I'd be like, yeah, you can make some money in that business, but what if this happens, and does every dollar get a return? And like, I get analysis paralysis with that. And finally I was just like, you know what, the hell with it. Here we go. Let's just do this.
I think I'm the same way when it comes to that stuff. I do kind of overthink things, but I'm also, extraordinarily blessed to have the wife that I have.
Yeah.
I mean, that partnership is, she's involved in everything that I do. I mean, like I said before we started rolling here, she's a CPA, so it just kind of makes sense to have her. She's dialed into the books. She does the books. She manages, like, all right, you have X amount of dollars to do, blah, blah, blah.
And you kind of have to have that. I mean, it took some convincing for Holly to kind of get on board with, like, these grand business ideas that I have, which are sometimes too big to kind of wrap your head around sometimes. But, yeah, you got to have that. And, yeah, kind of where I was going with that was, I think I've learned and I've enjoyed the chase of this so far. Like, it's kind of addicting once you get rolling. You're like, okay, now we have the business. Now we're, chasing leads down. We're calling people. We're getting things going. I think eventually I'd like to grow this big enough to where it can eventually run itself. I can hire a staff. One thing, we've always wanted to have a business where we can have a team. Working for some other companies that I've worked for that, like, this is kind of a dumb thing to be concerned about, but that didn't have team Christmas parties or didn't invite spouses to get together. Like, I want to have more of a community feel to a business, right? And be able to provide that. So getting this to a point where we've got employees, it's running itself. I'd like to get into other stuff. And I don't know what that is yet. Maybe it's
dude, you're never going to know until
maybe
it
it's
happens.
this, maybe it's that. I've always been interested in getting into rental houses, real estate, having a bunch of rental houses. Talked to a guy one time that he had a boat rental business up in Traverse City I was trying to buy. And he was like, this is kind of the vehicle, but my rental properties are my retirement. So basically he just took all his money there and then just started, plugging it into this house and that house and refurb this, refurb that. And, his goal was to have a bunch of rental houses that are producing income while he's retired doing whatever he wants to do. And then eventually he can kind of sell those off. But I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's another business. I don't know what it is, but that's kind of my goal is maybe I would like to get into a couple different things and sort of build them up to where they're running themselves and then still be involved, but be able to step back enough to go do this, do that.
To go back on what you said about the, company culture and having a team that you take care of. And, it is kind of a rare thing. A lot of companies do the bonus structure or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the team is constantly waiting.
Yeah.
Like, am I going to get a bonus this year? What is it going to be? How much is it going to be?
Yeah.
Is it based on the dollars? Did we do enough for us to get that? Whatever it was. If it was $1,000 last year, are we getting 1,000 or are we only getting 500?
Yeah.
I do some marketing for other companies and some consulting. And one of the companies that I work with is the owner is amazing in that way. Like, multiple parties a year. Mm-hmm. So an end of summer party, a Christmas party.
Yeah.
And they're fucking big, dude. And there's a ton of food.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a Christmas party. He did a Christmas party last year. And it's cool. He invites me and my wife or whatever, mm-hmm. and they must have thousands of dollars on giveaway stuff. But
Yeah.
75, 80-inch TVs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
Cool
did
stuff.
drawings, but everybody got something. And these were not like shitty gifts.
Yeah.
And then another party where, they bring in like acts, dueling pianos, and a magician who was kind of shitty. But anyways, it was still fun.
Yeah.
And then everybody got, these jackets and bags and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
And it was like, I told them, I'm like, listen, this is a company that's got over 100 employees. And it's like, I know how much this stuff costs. Like, I really hope that the team appreciates this because it is, it's crazy to see.
Yeah.
Because you don't see it enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that every company needs to be this, whatever, but it is the little things. Like, I had a little business downtown, and, we tried to do things like, we didn't offer insurance. That was just something we couldn't afford, but, it got to the point where starting wages were around $20 an hour for a liquor store.
Yeah.
We gave bonuses, we gave paid vacations, sick leave, all this shit, and retirement. We matched retirement up to 3%, which, it's super important because you get quality team that way too.
Exactly. Yeah.
I put a post out. I was looking for some additional team members just prior before we sold the business, and I put a thing out about come and apply, blah blah blah, and I put in there with your application, give me a cover letter.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Yeah.
And there were some fucking trolls, dude, that were just hammering me because why should anybody have to give you a cover letter to work at a liquor store? And I'm like, you're not my employee.
Kind of proves the point. Yeah.
Yeah. I want somebody that wants to do this job.
Yeah.
And we're not paying pedestrian wages here. We're not paying you $13.50 an hour. This is a different thing. I want to be, like you said, this is a turnkey. I don't need to be here anymore.
Yeah.
I want people I can trust. I got a friend of mine that owns a liquor store downstate. I love him to death. He's a really good guy. He pays his employees fucking $10 an hour, and he's wondering why shit's getting stolen. And people are constantly calling it sick or quitting.
Yeah. You want to set a standard as a business owner that, like, this is how we take. I mean, you start it, and it's just you, or it's just me, or whoever, and then you kind of set the standard. This is how we do things, and then you start to build a team, and then I'm sure it gets frustrating. Like, I'm not there yet, so I can't really even speak to that. But like, you get to that point, and it can go sideways real quick if you don't hire the right people.
I mean, there's not a single person that you hire. I don't care how strong the bond is. There's not a single person you hire that's ever going to love that business as much as you do and want it to succeed as much as you do. So you kind of got to take the good with the bad.
I got a funny story about that kind of stuff too. It's around the simple thing of like the cover letter, and that it sounds stupid and sounds simple, but you almost have to do that nowadays. Like, I'm shrink wrapping boats in the fall. I'm running around to people's houses all the time, and I'm a talker, so I'll talk to people all the time and, get conversations. I'll be like, why'd that boat take you like 3 hours? I was like, oh, it's a cool guy. I talked to him for 45 minutes. But you get to talking to people, and you do what you say you're going to do. You show up on time, and you do good work. And it's amazing to me how thankful or how impressed people are that all you did was show up when you said you were going to show up. I'm like, isn't that just what you should, like, you shouldn't be thanking me that I showed up. Like, it's my job to show up, essentially. But things have gotten so bad out there in the workforce that, like, that's a thing to be proud of now, is that I just showed up when I told you I was going to be here. It's crazy. Yeah. It was just crazy to me how often I heard that, like, thank you so much for just showing up when you did and being on time and punctual. And like, that's not what you should be thanking me for, but okay, I'll take it, right?
I'm the worst, dude, when it comes to somebody trying to sell me something. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, I was a salesperson for a long time. Yeah. So whenever somebody's got something to say, I'm the one that's always like, okay. Yep. Hold your horses. Mm-hmm. You got to work for this shit. Yeah. In building that muscle, that selling muscle. Yeah. knowing what to say right away, how to say it, how to get your foot in the door, blah, blah, blah. It's a muscle that has to be worked. And I had a guy come to the house last summer, rolled up, came up to the door. He was smoking a cigarette. He was a younger dude. No shade on cigarette smoking. I used to smoke. Yeah. And I'm like, how can I help you, guy? He's like, I power wash. You know, I can your house looks dirty, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Try harder. And he called me the next day, or came by the next day again, and did the pitch again. And I'm like, give me your card. And I let him sit for a while. I'm like, I don't know. I got a white house. I'm like, I told my wife, I said, man, I'll throw him a bone. I'll call him up. I called him, and he's like, yeah, I could do it. I said, how much? He says, well, if you pay me in cash, I think it was like $200. It wasn't that big of a deal. But he brought another kid, and they banged out the house and the garage, and like, I don't know how long it took them, but I left, came back, and they were done. Gave him the cash, and I said, maybe we can do this again someday. He never called me. And I'm a follow-up guy. Yeah. So I called him. I fucking hate that I did it, but I'm like, listen, man, if you want to grow this business, call your customers back. You know, what'd you think? What'd you like? What didn't you like? Did I fuck anything up?
Just find some reason to get a hold of them. Right? I mean, I got to do that with the shrink wrap business, and you know, I'm trying to grow this to the industrial stuff. I've had some opportunities that didn't work out where, you know, we didn't win bids with some customers, and I find a reason every couple months to shoot them an email. Hey, how's it going? You know, doesn't have to be much, but at least catch up. Keep at the top of their mind, right? You know?
How does the bidding wars work? I mean, I know that like in the first of all, like in the car business, trades are usually within $100, depending on the dealerships. I mean, you go to 5 dealerships and you've got a trade in, they're all going to be within $100. That's just kind of standard. You know, a furnace install, if it's a comparable furnace to the other, blah, 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 depending on the size. If you're not using like your uncle's best friend's brother to come in and put your furnace in, it's all going to kind of be relatively the same cost. Do you do much research? Is there kind of like we all charge kind of the same amount?
Yeah, as far as restroom trailers and rentals go. I honestly, I before we kind of got started, just started calling my competition.
Smart.
From my work number that I knew I wasn't going to use as my business number. And just, hey, I've got a wedding on June 15th. Here's what I'm looking at, you know, what do you charge for a 3-stall? And kind of got an idea. Also, when I went to that trade show, ended up going to dinner with the sales guys from the manufacturer of the trailers I'm buying, and they brought another guy that's been in the business for a couple years from Ohio. And so he's just like kind of between Toledo and wherever Cedar Point is, at Sandusky. So he was at dinner too. We got to talking, and I kind of bounced things off of him, like, hey, what are you typically charging for this? What are you getting for that? And we kind of found that our prices were pretty well aligned anyway, like from where he was at and from my market research. So that helps to have a couple other guys that are in similar areas. I mean, if I would have called a guy from LA that's in the business, his prices are going to be completely whacked out of what I'm doing, but at least having that. So having kind of some conversations there, we kind of get an idea where price needs to be and just kind of figure it out from there. So everybody kind of charges about the same. You know, there's a couple of fly-by-night operations that are running really cheap trailers, but the problem with that is, like, yeah, you can do that if you just want it to be a side gig forever. But, you know, when you start growing and actually getting insurance and trying to run an actual business, like, it's just not going to work, and it's a problem for all of us, right? When somebody comes in and like tries to swoop under the radar, like hundreds of dollars cheaper than everybody else, and they think they're doing a good thing because they're, you know, making a few extra bucks on the weekends. Well, eventually you're not going to be able to grow it, and you're going to find that it's too much work for what you're doing.
So I'm totally listening to you, but also trying to pull up some stuff here. Are you much of a practitioner when it comes to, marketing online, social media, stuff like that?
I'm working on it. So I've gotten a little gun shy with some of that stuff. I just started that the other day.
Okay.
Just
Follow back.
just open. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just popped an Instagram page up for it. I don't have anything on it yet, but as far as like SEO, Google stuff, I've gotten a little gun shy with that because I've tried to do Google ads myself, spent a whole bunch of money that I didn't need to spend, and then I partnered with a company that did SEO, like not Google ads, but organic stuff. And me being the person that I am that wants to do everything themselves and wants to learn, I was like, hey, is there a package where you can just kind of teach me what I need to do and give me the pointers and I'll go implement it? Because I can't afford to pay you to do everything. This was for the shrink wrap business, and it was a few $1,000s. And
Yeah.
like, I found out real quick, like, I thought I could do it.
You can do it.
It was tough
The
to get
fucking
there.
SEO companies, they are. I mean, like I said, I don't really have the bandwidth some days to sit and watch YouTube
Yeah.
and try to figure it out, but I do know how that shit works. I mean, it's, you're looking at keywords, you're looking at, your any kind of copy that you're putting on your social media, links to your website. The more you do it, the more you produce, the easier that it comes. I've never used a company for SEO.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much to, if you can post on Instagram, Facebook, and write a decent, copy and whatever you're posting, with links to your website, you could just take, at a bare minimum, if all you're doing is posting some pictures of an event you did with your Roaming Restrooms, you could just have a copy already made and just copy and paste that every time.
Yeah.
And it works. I haven't done the only paid ads I ever do are for the races I do.
Yeah. Well, that's a catch-22 too. I know you and Dan had talked about that, how you get into this paid thing.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. It's almost like,
And
am I
then-
trusting Facebook Meta, basically, to, are they downgrading me because I'm not paying? But I only did a couple, air quotes, boosted posts for Manistee Beverage Company. And I mean, one hand out of all those years.
Yeah.
And I quit doing it. The racing events, those sites are really kind of dark until now. Right when I start focusing on this year's events. All right, now I'm going to start pumping out some content for it. But I have 1,000+ on my newsletter, so these are guaranteed.
Yeah.
They're not guaranteed, but a vast majority of these people are going to sign up right away.
Yeah.
So I don't put any money into my YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, or Instagram.
Yeah.
None. But it's all organic, and people can do it as long as they're consistent. And I see it. Like, if I don't, for whatever reason, if I'm lacking in my social media, I do see it kind of starting to dip because people have short memories.
Yeah.
But you start pumping out good stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be great. As long as you've got everything in it, people see it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to do with the Facebook stuff, is I'm trying to post regularly with it and try to keep ideas flowing, keep something out there. What's interesting is I boosted a post and like everybody and their brother was like, all I do is see your fucking ad,
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's good, because that's
good.
what's supposed to happen. It cost me some money, but then I did another post. I think it was the one I put up this past week about doing an event at your house. Like, if you're going to do a graduation party, I'm trying to target some graduation party stuff right now, or just at least plant the seed, right? And what was interesting about that is I was going to boost it, and I thought, I'm not going to boost this, so I'm going to see what happens. And it was weird. Within like 3 days, I had like 1,400 views or something. I was like, where did all that come from? And then I kind of looked at the spread where, it shows you how many are followers, how many are not followers.
Non-followers, yeah.
Like 90-some% were non-followers.
Yeah.
I was like, how did that get out? how did all of those people see that? Now, I did post it on like Spring Lake Informed, which probably helped, but I don't know how many, like, so it's an interesting algorithm.
It happens that way because that's part of the algorithm.
Yeah.
So they'll start by pushing it in a direction. And if it starts getting certain engagement or people are on it, like if it's a photograph, because it's all views now. I don't know if you know that. I don't care if you've got one follower or a million. Mm-hmm. That shit doesn't matter anymore.
Okay.
It's all about the eyes on your stuff. Yeah. So like if you go into Instagram and you go to, I don't know how you're set up on Instagram, but like if you go and just go into your Instagram account and you're on your own page, the first thing that shoves up is your professional dashboard. Mm-hmm. And it shows you exactly how many views you got in the last 30 days. Okay. They don't care about how many people are following your page. They want to know how many people are looking at it. Yeah. So what they do, just a lot like YouTube will push it out and then wait. And if there's some engagement, then they're like, oh, okay. Then they do it a little bit more and a little bit more, and it goes from there. Meta does the same thing. So you put something on Facebook, they push it a little bit, and they're pushing it to people that don't normally look at your content. Mm-hmm. I get people all the time that come up to me and say, I don't see your shit anymore. And I'm like, that's funny, because I got, 2,000 posts a year. Yeah. But I know why. Because just like you said, you look at it and go, how come 90% of the people that looked at this aren't even following? Yeah. Because they're moving it around to people that are going to engage with it.
And you look at kind of that little bar graph they gave you, and like a bunch of it was suggested, right? Yep. So when you see something that's like this was suggested for you, like I'll get random ads where I'm like, I'm not interested in this widget or whatever the hell it is, like something I've never even thought about before. And it's like, suggested for you. Where'd that come from, right? So they are doing some of that stuff. Maybe that's what happens. I think they also listen to you too, like
100%.
So my brother-in-law and I have this, like, we both kind of really believe that, and so like anytime it happens where we're talking to somebody about something random that we've never looked up, we didn't know, like I had a conversation with somebody who was telling me something brand new that I'd never heard about before. Go on Facebook later, and I'm like, I just got an ad for that. I'll screenshot, send it to him, and be like, here it is.
Yeah, for sure.
The most recent one is my brother-in-law and I were talking about, somehow we were sitting on the couch at like Christmas or something. We were talking about espresso martinis. And like, there's bad ones you can get, there's good ones you can get. I don't even know how the conversation came up. I haven't searched for anything about espresso martinis. The next day, I see an ad about the 10 best espresso martini bars in Boston. You can't tell, like, clearly.
100%.
Clearly listening in
100%. It's just,
that was like undeniable.
I follow the CEO for Instagram. He's a really good follow. I'll send it to you. Yeah. Because he's always doing platform updates and how you can use certain features and why certain features are the way they are. And people ask him questions. He does a Friday, ask me anything. And a lot of times it's like, my shadow, he explains that there's no such thing as shadow banning or whatever. But one question came up about hey, how come I'm getting ads or suggestions for shit that I'm not interested in? And he said, they're not listening. And that you must have done something, spent too long on a post, where it came through or some shit. I'm like, no. Because to your point, there's been multiple times where I'm like, what the fuck? I literally was talking to Betsy about this, and now I'm looking at it on my phone. Yeah. It's wild.
It is wild, yeah. And it's funny, sometimes I'll kind of play that game where you can kind of like change the algorithm. Like you go into the little magnifying glass on
I change mine all the time.
And you're like, I'm just going to see how long it would take, and you just start looking at like airplanes. Yeah. You just look at it and you spend just enough time on those, and then you refresh that, and it just feeds you a ton of like airplane stuff, like which is 90% of mine because I love aviation. But it's just interesting how quickly it will change and just cater right to you with what you want.
I mean, I went through a purge. So, this is what I do, and I don't do this at home. I got to a point, especially with all the fucking noise with politics and shit. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I can't stand opening Facebook because it's just like, you should be aware, you should be upset, blah blah blah. Yeah. So now when I'm home, the phone's on silent, and I don't even hardly open my computer unless I need to check it.
I want to be
I check my email at 5 o'clock
Yeah.
in the morning, and after that, there's no more email. Where am I going with this? Oh, so like I purged my phone. I got rid of all the political bullshit that I was following.
Yep.
And I went in and started searching for like triathletes, workout, that new thing that's not CrossFit, but it's High Rocks or whatever it's called. Have you heard of that shit?
No.
Oh, dude.
I did the CrossFit thing for a while. I actually enjoyed it, but I haven't heard of what's kind of the new fangled.
This and I'm not going to do it right. I'm not going to explain it that well, but it is a lot like CrossFit, competitions and all that shit. But I don't think they do like there is some Olympic lifts and stuff like that. There's box pushing sleds and all that shit.
Yeah.
But I think they kind of steer away from the fake chin-ups and
all the kipping stuff
and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's blowing up.
Okay.
And so I started following a bunch of that shit. And so now when I open up my search on Instagram, it's all like, you're being a little bitch.
Yeah.
Get to the gym.
What's his name that runs?
Goggins.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite memes to send people is like, you're being a little bitch.
Yeah.
You know, get out there and run.
David Goggins action. I hate running. I kind of wish I was a runner or could get some stamina, but I can't. I'm more of a just like to get in and get like a good lift in. But yeah, running, man, I can't do it. I don't know how you do like the triathlete stuff, like that stamina stuff.
I'm addicted.
I can't do it. And people look at me and they're like, well,
You'd be perfect for it.
That's what everybody says.
You'd be
They're
perfect
like,
for it.
You should be a runner. I'm like, dude, I can't run. I was the slowest runner.
Me
Like
too.
when I
I'm
play
so
football
slow.
and stuff, I'm such a slow runner. But I can't ever get myself to like just want to run. It's the most boring.
Oh my God, dude. I had the best summer ever last year. And it consisted of training literally every day. But it was so much fucking fun. It was a beautiful summer.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't
We had a long
stop.
summer too. I mean, it was into the 70s, like in October. So you had a long season out of that.
Dude, when I did the Ironman up in Frankfurt, that day was touching 80 something, but it was so humid. I mean, I was torched at the end of that thing. But yeah, I said I was never going to do it again right when the race ended. And a day and a half later, I'm like, all right, I'm signing up again for next year.
I want to do like the Spartan race or something like that. It'd be fun to do, to get into that. I did one of those like Tough Mudders years ago. They had one down in Muskegon. A buddy of mine and I went and did it. Just the small, I think it was like a little 3 miler or whatever, but
Still,
it'd be fun.
I got a buddy. I'm not going to say his name because I heard the second hand, and he's a yoked dude, and he and a couple of his powerlifting buddies went and did is the Tough Mudder the one that's also got the electric?
I think so. I think, yeah, those type of races all have those little, like, where you crawl through the mud and there's like these little...
So he was crawling through the mud and got zapped a bunch of times and fucking went dark. They had to pull him out.
No shit.
Yeah, it freaked him out a little bit.
Yeah.
This is a big
that
dude.
would.
And I'm like, who the fuck wants to get electrocuted during a race?
Not me.
And it's not you're supposed to feel it, but not get like...
Not like a full on, like... Yeah, it'd be fun if they were like, yeah, you're getting a little zing here and there, but yeah, not a full on. I don't want to.
Speaking of working out, dude, I wrote that down when you had said you worked out with the Chargers.
Oh yeah, so
line coach.
funny story. Yeah, we were talking about that. I've always been like into lifting and stuff, but I never looked like I lift. Right, I could never gain. I could never gain anything. Could never get anywhere.
Must be nice to not be able to gain weight.
Dude, I am one of those people, and people probably would hate me for saying this, but my body loves like 160, 170, 165, 175 pounds. Like,
I haven't seen that since I was a senior.
That's where it wants to live. Like, I could do nothing, and I know I could step on a scale tomorrow, and that's where I'm probably going to be. So, I want to try a little experiment, like maybe get a trainer and try to get somewhere. Not that I want to be like a big bulky guy, but you know, we just had our first son I was 36 now, and I'm like, well, I'm going to be an older dad. I need to be able to kind of keep up, you know, as with the kid. And I don't want to get out of shape. I've always been like thin and not a lot very muscular, despite lifting. It never looked like it worked out, and I was like, I just want to look like, like Dumb and Dumber. Like he must work out. I guess all you want is you want to be that. Yeah. You at least want to look like that, or I didn't want to keep up with the kids. So yeah, I had got a hold of him. I think I found him through Instagram or something, and I liked his method of like, hey, we're not here to like just get big and bulky. Just let's figure out how to eat right, dick around in the gym a little bit, and be healthy in general. So I kind of got a hold of him. He works with a lot of people that are trying to lose weight, because he was a lineman. Interesting story about him.
Who is this?
Nick Hardwick. Okay. He never played a lick of football in high school. Didn't play at all. He was a wrestler in high school. Walked on at Purdue, like right after Drew Brees was there. He went to Purdue, walked on, and he was the center for the Chargers for like 11 years.
That's where his name comes from. I knew it sounded familiar.
When Phillip Rivers was his quarterback for a long time. But crazy story how he never played a lick of football in high school and had this amazing 11-year career in the NFL. But yeah, he was like 300 pounds, like, an NFL lineman, you're a big boy.
Yeah.
And he retired and didn't want to live at that weight anymore, and figured out a way to drop it, and he's jacked now and in shape. And so he retired, got into personal training and stuff like that. So I kind of got a hold of him, like, I'm going to do a little experiment, try this. I'm like, hey, could you work with a guy who wants to gain a little weight? He's like, sure. And I've had a, what do you call it? Pec to set where my chest is sunk in. So I need to work a lot harder to like bring that out. And I'm like, always been self-conscious about it. I'm like, I maybe put on a few pounds. Holly's told me, she's like, you're so skinny, you need to put on a few pounds at least. I'm like, okay, I'll try. Dude, he had me on like 3,000 calories a day, which was a bitch to get in.
That's hard.
It was hard. And the interesting thing about what I learned from him was he kind of had this method of like 3,500 calories a week is a pound a week. So if you eat, for every 3,500 calories extra, you're going to gain a pound a week. And you can scale that down to half and gain half pound. Go down 30, so it's 500 calories a day. Up or down will either gain you or lose you per week. So he's like, take, what is it? TDEE, or whatever based on your activity level, if you ate, call it 2,500 calories a day at your activity level, you wouldn't change at all. You're right where you need to be. Like, you're going to stay that weight. You add 500 calories a day, you get to 3,500 calories a week, you're going to gain about a pound a week. So I was trying to kind of do that. Got up to like, I think my heaviest, it's in my phone, like 181, 182, somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's right where I want to be.
I was 162 when I started it with him.
Holy shit.
So I was at 162.
Now, was that muscle?
Fuck no. No. I'm getting into that.
Okay.
So, went through this. I was trying to, I was eating a shake every morning. Not every morning, but every morning that I could, where I had a cup of oats, almond milk, 2 scoops of protein, 2 spoonfuls of peanut butter, and a banana.
God, that's got to be close to...
It was like 800 calories. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And
I kind of had to do that to get the rest of it, to get the
40 grams of protein, probably.
Yeah, to get the calorie goal in. Like, I knew, like, as I was going through, I kind of figured out if I didn't get that in the morning, I wasn't going to get to 3,000 calories. Like, no way.
Yeah.
But definitely, like, and even at that, like, 180, like, you still couldn't, like, I didn't look a whole lot different. I could feel like clothes got a little tighter or whatever, but yeah. I wasn't, like, jacked or anything. My thought was get up there, and then, so I was working with him, and that was fun because I'd never worked with someone where, like, you're checking in regularly, like, hey, how's this going? Let's change this with your workout. I enjoyed that, and I kind of needed some structure because I'm the kind of guy that, like, if I start coming up with workouts or I go find a workout online, I start to not trust it after a while, and I'm like, this isn't working. Well, it's never working because I wasn't eating enough for it to ever work. And I wasn't eating right. So I kind of learned the diet's more than half the battle. And
it's way more than
that's most of it right there.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can do that, you don't have to do a whole lot in the gym. You can kind of figure it out and you'll get somewhere. But yeah, I'd gotten there, and then he had gotten a call from Harbaugh when Harbaugh took over the Chargers for him to come be the assistant offensive line coach. And he's like, hey, I got to give this up because this is like 24/7 job now.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's cool. was happy for him. And I was like, I kind of got enough knowledge from you now where I think I can take this. And so I tried to start like dialing the calories back. But man, as soon as I started dialing the calories back, I started melting like right back down. And I thought I was at a point where I could do a cut, but it still.
No, those guys that
you got to
that
gain
bulk.
a lot of bulk before you can cut. And I kind of found that out. And I'm sitting at like 170-ish pounds now, but I fluctuate like 170, somewhere in there. Since having a child, it's chaos and start like trying to find time to work out and eat right now. But I think I'm going to do another little experiment where I'm going to maybe jack that up to more calories again in here and try to see what I can do. But yeah, that was interesting.
So I'm at the other end of the spectrum of that. I'm kind of constantly trying to keep my weight in check. For the last 20 years, I have been anywhere from 200. I got up as high as 230 when I was grinding every day at Manistee Beverage the first year or so. But then my weight has always been between 200 and 216-ish pounds for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And with all the shit I do.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned when we were chatting about coming on here, when I was talking to Rachel about the calorie deficit.
Yeah.
And you were like, how the fuck can you do?
When you said 18, when you said I think you were less than 18, I'm like
1,500 is what I'm shooting for daily,
shit.
which if that tends to fluctuate a little bit depending on my activity level. So I use an app to track my macros and everything, and it also tracks my my calories out as well. So depending on the workout, how many calories burned, whatever. But then I also play a game of, did I really burn that many calories? Mm-hmm. So I've lost 20 pounds since October. I got about another 15 to go to reach my goal weight. But I mean, it's really more of I like being big. Mm-hmm. I like feeling that I'm full in my muscles.
Oh, yeah.
But in order for me to do what I want to do with triathlon, I got to cut the weight. I can't be.
Yeah, you have to probably run that line a little bit tighter where you can't go too far one way or the other, because one, you're going to be gassed, or two, you're going to be too big to move. And
for triathlon, I'm too big for the run right now.
Yeah.
I need to be lighter. There were dudes that were fucking, I swear to God, 300 pounds on the bike.
Wow.
But so like at the Ironman, you can do like a team event. So one person can swim, one can do the bike, one can do the run. So a lot of people, some of those bigger dudes, I didn't see them running, and I get it. But a lot of them do it, though. There's some heroes out there, man, that are way overweight that manage to do that entire event, which is fucking amazing. But I have very specific goals. I want to be faster. I want the timing to be better. So in order for me to do that, I got to cut the weight. So, and I very begrudgingly haven't had a drink since October. Mm-hmm. No sugar. I cut my carbs way back. And it's mostly like high protein. I'm trying to hit like upwards of 200 grams of protein a day.
Yeah.
Which is also hard.
It's kind of what I'm trying to do right now in the fog of war of like trying to start a business and have a 7-month-old at home and try to manage all that. I'm like, at this point, if I don't get it in, at least try to get a couple protein shakes in a day just to try to keep that as high as I can. But
are you hitting the gym now?
Yeah, it's hit or miss, right? It's a lot of at-home stuff.
Yeah.
I've kind of, just out of necessity had to switch to being at home. I wish I could be, my wife will laugh when she hears this, but I wish so bad I was a morning workout guy. Like, I wish I could get up at 5 and just like hit the gym. And I can't do it. I'm a snoozer. Like, I'll hit snooze till the last minute. And even when I do get up, it's like the last thing I feel like doing. So I end up getting on the computer. I start getting busy with work. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, time to get him ready for daycare, to get a shower, and then the work day starts, and then I'm stuck at night. well, then it's bath time. Then it's dinner. It's like, how do you squeeze this in, right? So
I mean,
it's
if
super
you're
hit or
talking to
miss
me,
right
you
now.
can squeeze it in.
It can happen. I just got to be a little more disciplined, and I've found I've got a lot of work to get more disciplined on it.
I'm getting more. I mean, I'm super disciplined. But I mean, we're in bed this time of year, winter.
Yeah.
You know, when it's already dark outside. We were in bed by 8 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
And we're reading. We'll read for an hour, my wife and
Yeah.
I. 9 o'clock, lights out.
Yep.
And up anywhere between 5 and 5:30 every morning.
Yeah.
And that's evolved because I used to get up earlier than that to get to when we had Mary. So my wife would work out in the afternoon, but I'd get up really early, go to the gym, come home, take care of Mary.
Yeah.
And then she'd get up and about. I'd go to work. And then she would work out in the afternoons or whatever, before dinner or after dinner. And then it's kind of evolved now. But my wife she's a psychopath too with the wake ups. I mean, she's just up.
That's how Holly is. So Holly is as soon as the alarm goes off, she's up.
We don't even use an alarm.
And God, I wish I could I can't.
It's just the Air Force. That's a military thing too.
Yeah, that'll get you going.
I can, for example, if I say to myself, this is going to sound like bullshit, but it's true. If I say, I got to be up by 3 because I got to go do something, like North Country Trail Run, my wife is always like, are you sure you don't want to set an alarm? I'm like, no, I'll be up 3 o'clock. If I say 3 o'clock, I'm up.
Can't do it. No, I got to set an alarm. And if I got to get up like that early, I'm probably setting 2 just to make sure. Because I'm going to go to bed worried about whether I'm going to get up in time. And I wish I could be a really early, like I get up early enough, right? But it's not like I'm not a sleep till noon kind of guy or anything like that. But like to get up at 5 and just go into the gym, I wish I could be that guy. Maybe eventually I'll get there, but it's hard for me to get there.
We're in a different lane right now. I mean, we homeschool our youngest.
Yeah.
I should say my wife homeschools Mary. And so she's dialed back. She works right now kind of as a temporary thing. She'll go into the office if they need her to do something, but she doesn't work more than, I mean, she hasn't worked in a couple of weeks. I think she's going in today for a few hours, but so we get up in the morning and we will spend an hour on the couch just talking and drinking coffee, and then I'll go to the gym, or she'll come with me. If my older kids are home from school, she'll go to the gym with me in the morning. But I mean, we have a real chill life right now, dude.
Well, and that's what's cool about having your own business is like you can kind of have that freedom. Not that you start a business because you don't want to work, but eventually you get some more freedom than, someone telling you how many vacation days you have and how many days you can do this. Like, that's one of my biggest goals is to get to that point where we have a little freedom of we don't have to take the kid to daycare today. I can be home. Yeah, I might have to go do some things, but we can kind of work our schedules a little bit different. You're not tied to somebody else's. I mean, you're always tied to your customer schedule at the end of the day, right? But you can have some freedom. And that's kind of, I don't need to make a ton of money.
No.
Just give me, I'm shooting for freedom almost more so. If I can just
100%.
make what I'm making now, comfortable life, be able to do what I want to do and have the freedom to go do some things things I want to go, I want to go hiking, in the mountains, or go, hunting out west. I want to be able to kind of work that stuff in when I want to or when I can, rather than be tied to the 9 to 5 every single day, that grind, and you kind of never get there. So
yeah, people don't. I mean, what's the goal? What's the mission? Where do you want to be? It never was. If you're gonna do a small business and you say the goal is to be a millionaire, you're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
But if there's an ultimate mission to it, but being an entrepreneur, dude, it's it's a fucking grind.
It is. I was telling you before we got on, I was up watching QuickBooks videos till 11 o'clock last night and just trying to figure that out. And it's you're the accountant, the HR person, you're the day-to-day worker, you're the salesman, you're everything. Eventually you can start to peel that stuff off, but you got to get there first.
Yeah. I want to own my own business because then I can take vacations and never have to, really work a day in my life.
And I think that's where a lot of people get, don't want to say tripped up with it, but a lot of people will start their own business because they want to just have their own schedule and do their own thing, and they never think about growing it to the point where you can actually do that, and then it becomes such a job that you're like, I'm working harder than I ever was. The hell with this. I'm going to get rid of the business. I'm going to go back to working for somebody again because that's easier.
Yeah, or starting your own business and not realizing that you're not making any money for yourself yet.
Right.
You know, they keep reinvesting into the business. You're not really making the income. I mean, I left big money on the table to open up my first business.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I'm doing both. Like, I have a regular 9 to 5, and I'm planning on keeping that as long as I need to. Now, if I was able to leave tomorrow, I would, but I can't. Like, we got to get there first, and it's going to be a grind until you get there, and you got to be able to weather through that before you can kind of start doing that. But I also look at, I've always worked for big corporations, not on purpose. That's just kind of how it worked out. Like, worked for Caterpillar out of school. It's one of the biggest companies in the world. I work for one of the biggest gas companies in the world, where I start to look at the VPs and the managers, and I'm like, man, you guys are at this 24/7, and you're working your ass. Yeah, they get paid pretty good money, but at the end of the day, you're still stressed all the, like, I look at these guys, they're stressed all the time. They're worried about, it's all publicly traded companies, so you're worried about, do we have all the orders in before the end of the quarter so we can show a good, it's like, whether that order comes in on the 31st or the 1st, does it really matter? We're still getting it. And it's like, no, we got to show the shareholder. Like, I look at that and I'm like, if they only realize, like, if they own their own business, they would have all the same stress, all of that doesn't go away, but you're building something for yourself at the end of the day. And I think that's kind of where the light bulb went off. I was like, I think I can do this, and it's going to be the same grind, but hopefully end up better at the end, with maybe more free time, maybe more of that kind of stuff, and maybe more money at the end of the day. Who knows? When you finally get to sell the business, like, and then you get to do what you're doing. You get to homeschool your kids and do what you want to do, because you've done that. So it's kind of where I see it. And I also I'm sure you probably saw it a lot in sales in the beverage industry, where you look at these people that own business and you're like, that guy owns this? Yeah. Like, if he can do it, I can do it. It's like, nobody's any smarter than anybody else. You almost have to have a little bit of a naiveness and, I won't say stupidity, to go and make that leap, because otherwise you're going to sit there and find out all the reasons you can't do it and why this won't work. You almost have to put that on mind and just be a little bit stupid and go. It's a different breed of people, dude. Yeah. I mean, 100%. I mean, if you're really grinding and trying to build something, I love talking to entrepreneurs, people that are starting businesses. I think it gets my juices flowing a little bit. Yeah. But we went through, I mean, we went, the company developed 2017. We didn't open until, when did we open? It was like May of 18. And, we had a solid year or so of business, and then COVID. Yeah. Which was fucking retarded. Yeah. And the blessing in it is that liquor stores were essential. Yeah. So you got I think a lot of the essential bullshit when it came to certain businesses was how much tax revenue the state was getting. Yeah. And you get a ton of tax revenue from liquor stores. But COVID elevated everything for that company. Yeah. It elevated my social media presence, but it also really made the store take off, because it was one of the few places where people could just call and say, I need to buy an insane amount of alcohol right now. Can you just box it up and bring it outside? Yeah. Sure thing. Yep. And we had to struggle through all that mess, and then it changes you. It changed me a little bit as a business owner, and made me look at things a little bit differently with staff and people and how people react to certain things. I got a funny story, but it made me a stronger operator. Yeah.
I was forced to be there.
Had to, yeah.
You know, I had already had a team in place, and I was giving up responsibility, but then it made me go back into full-on responsibility because, you know, people weren't comfortable coming to work, so I had to just be there all the time. Mm-hmm. So being with the customers more one-on-one, it really helped grow the business.
Yeah.
But funny COVID story. I don't think I've ever talked about this in the podcast, but, you know, people were kind of losing their minds. They didn't know what was going on or what was safe to do or not safe to do. And I had a guy come into the store, and he was like, "Where's your tonic water?" And I'm like, it's down there. He's like, "You don't have any," I think it was Schweppes or something like that. Mm-hmm. I think it was Schweppes tonic. I said, "No, but I've got these other brands." He's like, "I really need the Schweppes because it has," I can't remember what the main ingredient is in tonic water besides water, but there's something in it that's like, if you took it in large quantities, what was going around the internet was this particular ingredient or chemical or whatever was in tonic water, I should Google it, would ward off the COVID. Oh. So this guy was going around the stores. He bought all of my tonic because I said, well, it's whatever he was looking for in the ingredients. I'm like, it's in this one, it's in all of them. So he bought it all. And I'm like, so then I'm on Google. And it was like a legit thing. People were buying up tonic water because they thought it was. But you would literally have had to drink like hundreds of gallons for it to like have this effect. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to help with like respiratory shit or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, these people are fucking crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it got crazy. Like all the stuff going around and like, do this, do that. Funny story. We went to Mexico. We went to a trip to Cancun during all that.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was one of those where like you had to get tested before you could come home.
Yeah.
We were like worried we were going to get stuck there. We're like, shit, if we get COVID. So I'm in the shower like the morning before, like we had to go down to the lobby and get swabbed, you know, before we left. And I'm in there just like saline solution up my nose, like just trying to like just sucking in water, blowing it, like just trying to clean my nose. Like, I'm gonna beat this. If I have it, maybe they won't find it and I can get home. You know, stupid stuff. Right?
Yeah.
You just try just to try to beat the system and get home. But
I had a buddy get stuck in Europe for like 2 weeks, and it was back when, if you were flying, like you said, flying home and you had it or tested positive for it, it was still 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But he couldn't enjoy the 2 weeks that he had to stay there. He had to stay in his fucking hotel room.
Yeah.
The whole time. Mm-hmm. You know, like.
Yeah, we were worried about that, but it all ended up okay. But yeah, I'm like sucking water in my nose, trying to clean my nose out. Like, I was like, if I have it, maybe I can flush out what's in my nose.
I will tell you that I never tested positive for COVID.
No, I did.
I never took a test, but
I had to get tested. I was going to Grand Valley for my MBA at the time, and they started to have us like make us get tested like every so often so we could go to class and that kind of stuff. And I caught it at one point.
How was it for you?
Not great, actually.
Yeah, I'll tell you my experience. Mine wasn't either.
I kind of like the worst cough I ever had was kind of what it was, and so I was in bed with a cough for a while. But I mean, it ended up okay. But yeah, it was like kind of sucked. It was like it was like something different than I'd ever had before. But that was the only time I knowingly had it. Was then. I never really took a lot of tests otherwise, and then we were. And then more recently than that, like kind of after all the COVID stuff, with us trying to have kids for so many years, we went to the IVF route, and then like before we would get like the procedures and stuff like that done, like we had to both get tests at home and like take a picture and show them like, yeah, we don't have COVID, we can come in and do an egg transfer or whatever the hell we were doing. But it was like, hopefully we don't have it. I'm like, if we have it, I don't know if I'm going to tell them we have it.
Oh my God! So I want to talk about that, the in vitro fertilization.
That's a wild thing, yeah.
I want to tell you that. I'm pretty sure I was ground zero patient for Manistee.
Yeah.
My buddy Zach. Well, it wouldn't have been me. It probably would have been Zach. Shout out to Zach. he was down in Detroit when it was starting to come, you know, and like there wasn't any lockdowns or anything like that yet. He came home. We, I don't know if we met for coffee or something. And then he went dark for like 2 days. I couldn't get a hold of him. Like, what the fuck's going on? I'm like, texting his wife. I'm like, what's up with Zach? Where is he? Well, he's not feeling too well. And then after I got that text from her that he wasn't feeling too well, that night I go to bed. Betsy wakes me up in the middle of the night and she's like, are you okay? I mean, the whole bed was soaking wet. I was just sweating. And I'm like, I don't feel good. I feel like I'm 1,000 degrees. I never had a cough, but I had headache, the body aches, and the sweating, dude, in bed. I was like, and it wasn't like the fever where you get like super hot and then cold. I was just like torching the bed. We had to take the sheets off. I mean, and I was dizzy and shit. And I was out for like 4 days. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then people started talking about social distance, and it started coming more and more. And I can remember telling people, they come to the store and be like, you hear about this shit's going on in China? I'm like, whatever, it's in China. You know what I mean?
It'll never come over here. We're good.
God. I had a guy come in the store during the peak of this whole thing that was selling the the plastic glass stuff to put up in like stores. And he was like, I could put one of these up in here. I'm like, I don't need one of those. And he's like, well, you want people to get sick? I'm like, so what? Like, you're going to have this one piece of fiberglass or whatever in front of me, and
the things they thought that were going to stop.
The rest of the store is wide open.
And where did 6 feet come from? Like, just because we're 6.1 feet versus 5.9, like, you're not going to get sick. Like, come on.
Dude, I could do a whole podcast on that bullshit. I mean, that's what skyrocketed me, because I was doing videos like, this is retarded. You know, especially I'm friends with everybody downtown that have businesses, and like the restaurants, not being able to serve people inside, but you could outside. It's just ridiculous.
Crazy.
You know, people losing money. I don't know how many businesses that I was still connected with from my years in beer and wine. I would lean on people all the time too. I'd call them up, say, hey, what are you doing? How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And I don't know how many of them are like, well, we're closing. We don't have any, we can't stay open. You know, and it's like, how are you going to make your mortgage payment?
Right.
You know? Wild
times. Absolutely. Glad I didn't have a wedding and event business then.
Exactly.
Probably wouldn't have went so well. But,
well, actually, your business is probably fine.
It might have.
You drop off, you do it up, you do it all, you know, via Zoom. Hey, if something goes wrong, this is what you check. It's all
individual bathroom stall. Maybe it would have went. I don't know. But more of a reason why, like, through time, I want to diversify a little bit and get into a couple different things, because if we have another one of those, you know, maybe if you got enough things going, you can stay afloat.
So tell me about this in vitro fertilization path you guys went down. You have a son.
We do. We got really lucky with it. So we tried for a long time, and it was kind of one of those things where, like, what I tell anybody now is, like, if you're having problems, just go to a specialist, like, sooner than later. Like, we tried to do it naturally for so long, and we kind of got screwed up with the first OB that my wife had. Checked my levels out, my sperm and that kind of stuff. She's like, "Oh, count's good. You're great. You know, it's not that. Like, do this, keep trying." She was on, like, whatever, Clomid, whatever kind of fertility meds, and that never worked. Finally, we got around to the point where I had gone to, this is a funny story, I had to do so many of those, like, you know, samples where you bringing in the cup.
I've got some stories for you, but
and
go ahead.
I got one where they sent me to the wrong facility. So, like, you do it at home, and you've got so much time. You got to keep this, you know,
keep it warm.
Keep this little bottle warm. And I showed up to the facility, the wrong facility. And they're like, "What are you here for?" And I'm like, "Well, I've got this cup with this in it." And they're like, I don't think we do that here. And she's, like, parading me around this hospital, like, he's got a sample of the, and I'm like, oh.
He's got a cup of jizz.
Yeah, he's got a cup of jizz. Like, what do you do with it? And they're like, yeah, we don't handle that here. We go down the hall, there's another one. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, embarrassing at the time, but now, like, I've had to do that so many times since. It's like, oh, you need one? Here you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I get out of there, send me down the road to the next place, and they took it. But it was like, talk about embarrassing when you're walking around with a cup of jizz and you're like, where do I take this? Where do I go? But yeah, I think it came around to, I forget when we kind of figured it out, but I went to a urologist, and it ended up being on my side, where he's like, yeah, you've got good numbers, like they're there, but what is it, mobility, so like they're there, but they don't move well enough to get to the
they're all a little
egg.
touched.
Yeah, and then a lot of them are like misshapen, where even if they got to the egg, they couldn't penetrate. So like I learned a lot about all that, and what it actually ended up being, which was crazy, is and we tried like everything up until, like, we wanted IVF to be the last resort because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of a shot in the dark. Like, we got really lucky with ours, which I'll get into in a minute, but it ended up being a varicose vein. You know how you get varicose veins, like the squiggly veins? I had one of those, like, in your
hog?
Yeah, and not in my hog, in your nutsack, which you don't know you have. Like, and what happens is, it's like being in a hot tub your whole life. That cooks, like, it overheats. So like, the way you produce sperm, like if your nuts overheat, it kills this, like, kind of the sperm production, doesn't produce properly. And so basically the extra blood flow that was in the vein, like, it wasn't like you could see the veins, you didn't know you had them. Like, a lot of times he said some people, like, get bothered by it and they catch it earlier. But he kind of checked me out, which that was a embarrassing day at the doctor when he's on there, like, oh, this is what you got going on, I think. So ended up having those. It was kind of a decision point where it's like, well, I can remove those, like, get the varicose vein out, which is basically they clip it way up high, like in your waistline, and then, like, stops blood flow to those veins. The rest of them still take over and you're still good, but you don't have that extra quote unquote heat down there. That's kind of killing it. So, but then that's like so the way that this stretches out so much, and why I tell people, like, just go right away and go to a specialist, because you're going to try something and then they're like, okay, in about 6 months, like, your body will start to produce. And he was kind of telling me, he's like, even if you were to, like, go, like, if you're trying to have kids and you go in a hot tub, it's like 3 months before your body starts to produce sperm good again. After getting cooked in a hot tub. Crazy. I don't know.
Wow.
And he was a fertility doctor for a long time. He's since retired, but yeah, so we were trying all that. Like, we tried, what's the other one where it's like they basically just put sperm in closer to an egg, and then we tried that. That didn't work. Tried the, and that's a whole process. Like, you're months along for that, and then you figure out, oh, we have these varicose veins. Well, now that's 6 months to recover from that, and to where they start to do tests after that, and you see, like, okay, are things improving? Are they not? They had improved a little bit, but still not enough. And so you just end up blowing a bunch of time over and over.
And money.
And eventually we went to the fertility center in Grand Rapids, and they were like, yeah, you just do IVF. Like, if you, at this point, like, you might as well just do that. And we kind of finally got to that point. And it's such a roller coaster ride. Like, you start to, you know, we've been married for 10 years, right? And we've been trying. And you get to different points throughout where it's like, maybe you get kind of comfortable in life and you're like, okay, it's okay if we don't. And then you're like, well, you kind of do, because, like, 60, 70, 80 years old, it starts to get really lonely when you don't have kids or family around. And so it's like, well, then we'll do this. But I didn't want to, we didn't want to spend the money and just, it's like, it's like putting tens of thousands of dollars on black at the casino, and it's like, it might hit, it might not. But we got really lucky. Like, we ended up with like 5 good embryos, and a lot of people go through multiple egg retrievals before they get enough that are good.
I've heard that.
We got lucky. We got, I think, some good ones. 5 of them ended up being fertilized to where the point where they were viable, which was kind of rare first shot. And then we just said, hey, we don't care about, like, the other crazy thing about it is you
could check shit now.
You can literally go to them and say, like, out of the embryos, like, say you had 2 boys, 2 girls in there, you'd be like, we want a girl. Put that one in.
That's fucking wild.
Isn't it? It's crazy. And so we just said, hey, we don't care. Just put the best looking one in. And a lot of times that doesn't take the first time around either. Every time. And it's months of shots, like for Holly, like she was on all kinds of injections. I mean, she put a picture up after we kind of announced of like all the needles around the embryo, like our ultrasound picture. And like, that wasn't even like half of the, syringes that it took over that time. And it's like shots in the morning, shots at night. She hates needles, so that sucked for her.
Did you have to do it?
I didn't have to do any of that. All I had to do was, jack off in the bathroom at the hospital.
Such a hard fucking job.
That was kind of my job with it, but for the women, it sucks. And we've met some other people that were in it. Actually, a funny story is we were in for our egg retrieval, and I was playing men's league hockey in Muskegon on a team, and one of the guys that I kind of knew on the team, I didn't know him real well, but I kind of knew him. He was on the same team as me, and I kind of knew him, and I kind of saw him in there, and I'm like, he was walking out as I was in the waiting room with his wife after that. I'm like, looks familiar. But I didn't want to reach out to him because I was like, maybe it wasn't him. I don't want to, and maybe he doesn't want people to know. So I didn't reach out. And then we were doing our actual, where they put the fertilized embryo in. And they were in the stall next to us in the, triage area. And I saw him, and I'm like, hey, you're doing this, we're doing this. Same day, kids went in, they had a successful one. They've got a daughter now. We've got our son, and so it's been kind of a cool connection to kind of, someone else we knew wasn't going through the same thing at the same time. We didn't even know it, but yeah, so we've gone to dinner a couple times and talk about, the suck of it, but how it all worked out. So we got to catch up with them now that we're both kind of through the initial baby stage and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a wild process. And honestly, we've got a handful of other embryos that are fertilized. We don't know the genders yet. We're in the process of trying to figure out what those are. Are they boys? Are they girls?
So that's what I was going to ask you. So you kept those? Yep.
So they're frozen. We've got them on ice.
Do it.
And so
I'd love to have another one.
We're talking about it. It's just, we had a pretty stressful pregnancy though too. We had some scares at 25, 24 weeks where we went in for an ultrasound and they're like, hey, you're dilated. You might be having this thing. And they put her in the hospital and scared the shit out of both of us. Because then from then on, it was they finally let us go home, and we're like, so what now? Well, you could have the baby tomorrow, you could have it next week, you could have it next month, or you could go full term. We don't know. So
holy shit,
that whole
bro.
thing was stressful. Had to reschedule the baby shower because we were supposed to have the baby shower up here, but then we're like, we don't want to travel too far away.
Right.
Ended up all working out. She got induced. What was it? 36, 37 weeks, I think, something like that. I could be wrong, but somewhere around there. But yeah, long labor process. Shout out to all the women that have to go through that.
Oh my God, dude.
But yeah, healthy as can be. So it worked out for us first try, which is pretty rare, I think, for that to happen that way, but it worked out. So there's a little bit of that worry in the back of, especially Holly's mind of do I want to go through that whole stress again, and potentially with that problem rising up again, do we want to do that again? Kind of oh, I wouldn't mind having another one, but we're considering it. Yeah, at some point here, hopefully doing a
I went the
round
opposite route of you. So I had a vasectomy.
Okay.
Betsy and I wanted to have a baby, so I had to have it reversed.
Yeah.
And that was wild because I had the vasectomy going on, it was 7 years.
Yeah.
And I don't recommend the reversal. Have the kids.
Yeah.
So I had to go in and they had to fix it. And my doctor was like, hey, the odds of you having a kid at this point, you're probably not going to have one. Mm-hmm. So are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, we want to try.
Yeah.
So but when I got my vasectomy, I told the doctor at that point, I'm like, I want you to fucking burn them, solder them, tie them. I don't want any more kids.
Yeah.
So when this guy goes in to put them back together, at one point I heard him say, "Oh boy," because one of the tubes was like really like way in there. So he had to fucking pull it out and over, and I felt every bit of it.
I was gonna say, you're awake for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They gave me like, I don't know, not like Percocet.
Yeah, something to relax you, and then
They gave me like an SSRI. I don't know, Zoloft or I don't know, something like that. I know that when I took it, all of a sudden my jitters and everything were gone. I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
But I remember Betsy coming in. They went and got her when it was all done. It looked like a murder scene. There was bloody rags everywhere, and I'm just laying like fucking blood everywhere. I'm like, this better work. But yeah, so I had to do in a cup. I had to like clean it out first.
Yeah.
Just let it rip after let it rip, and then I don't know. It was like a month after I had to take my sample in.
Yeah.
And I'm such a bro.
Yeah.
Like I walked in with my sample. And the nurse is like, "What is it?" And I'm like, "It's semen."
Yeah.
And she's like, "And how did you collect this?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Self-inflicted."
Yeah. How do you think we
Okay, so she goes, "So you masturbated?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
You know. Anyways, it worked out. It took us another 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, because then I had to keep going and getting checked, and they were like, "Yeah, they're there." And then we had Mary, and then we were trying again, and like they were checking my shit, and they were like, "Yeah, you got nothing here. This is, I mean, you have stuff here, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Yeah.
So you're done."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh well, God blessed us."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got one other one. Well, you got what, 2? Or
I got 3.
3.
So I have a 22-year-old, soon to be 21, and Mary's 10.
Yep.
So
you got another one out of it at least.
Yeah, I had my older 2 young.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
Which
that's
in
good.
part, you know, looking back, was the reason why I got a vasectomy. I'm like, I can't have any more kids. And, but I'm glad we had Mary.
Yeah.
She's pretty fucking rad, dude. She's a good hang.
That's awesome. No, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm glad you're able to get that last one.
I'd do it again. I don't care. Like you said, 35, 36, having a kid, you're looking at like, but I'm also like, all right, well, I know already that I want to have super meaningful relationships with my grandkids at some point. So what am I doing to make sure I can do that? And I'm staying fit, staying healthy.
That's what I worry about is, you know, I look at how old I'm going to be when they're, you know, our kid or kids, whoever we end up with, is graduating high school. I'm like, I'm going to be a lot older than most of these parents. But then you also look at it and you're like, what's interesting is a lot of our friends like are having kids around the same time, like naturally, like people are having kids later anyway.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, I don't feel so bad. You know, it's kind of becoming a little bit more normal. Kids a little later. And what's interesting is you meet more and more people. Shrink wrapped a guy's boat over the summer, and he was talking about his kids, and he's like, "You got kids?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "First one." I'm like, "Yeah, you know, we did it late. 35." He's like, "Oh, we did too." He's like, "IVF had to do it." I'm like, the more and more people you meet, you're like, it's a pretty common problem. And what's interesting is you don't get any insurance help for it. Like, you can get insurance help for all kinds of stuff that is maybe questionable, but that part of it's all out of pocket. And some insurance, like some companies carry it. Like I think if you work for like Starbucks or something, like some of these more progressive companies, they'll offer it. But another kind of goal in business is if we can grow it enough to have employees to hopefully be able to afford to offer insurance that covers that kind of stuff. Because a lot of people don't have that, and it's a problem, right? It's something that's becoming more common. I don't know if it's because of what we eat or what we're around or like whatever, but it seems to be more common. The more people we talk to, it's like it's an issue.
I listen to that conversation quite a bit. I hear it in the podcasts, and some people on on social media talk about it. It's like when the birth rate's way down, and the whys are typically that comes around food supply, what we're eating, what we're around, plastics and shit like that.
I always think about it, and you always wonder, like you hear the stories from like way back in the day when they were drinking like radioactive water or something. They didn't realize it was a problem, you know? And you're like, what's that thing going to be when our great grandkids someday are like, they used to do that?
Yeah.
Really? It's so bad for you, and we just don't know it. You wonder what's going to be that thing that we're doing right now that people are going to look back and go, what the
Look at
hell
some
were
of the
they
pictures
thinking?
when I was growing up as a kid. I mean, it was people just smoking cigarettes right next to you.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom, she could smoke cigarettes in the hospital when
Yeah.
she had me.
Yeah. 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 You did. I remember there used to be ashtrays on airplanes, in the
Ashtrays everywhere.
in the armrest. It's crazy what to think about that. But you wonder what's that thing that we're doing now. But
I knew a kid in high school. His dad was probably 70. Mm-hmm. I'm like, God damn. And I would think back as I got older, like, I don't want to be 70 at my kid's graduation. But now I'm like, I really don't care.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Because I want to be a jacked old dude.
Yeah, that's the same thing. I want to be in good enough shape to where I'm keeping up with them throughout all that. But
It's kind of broy, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't want to be. My grandfather was 92 when he passed away, and he didn't work out or anything. I mean, he was active.
Yeah.
He did some jogging when he was younger. He was athletic when he was younger. But I'm like, boy, if I could live to 92,
just keep moving. I think that's all there is to it.
He died in his chair.
Yeah.
But I mean, you wouldn't have said, we got to check on Grandpa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just reached the end.
Yeah. Yeah, my grandpa was riding his bike a lot when he was well into his 70s, I think. And he ended up going at some point, but, due to I think a little bit of cancer. But it's like he stayed pretty active, and he wasn't overweight, right?
I think cancer's the thing. I mean, you could be healthy your entire life, and if nothing else is wrong with you, cancer will sooner or later creep its little head in.
I think so.
It's kind of like a fucked up thing. It's like the universe or God or whatever. It's like, all right, you're good with everything else, but it's your time, man. So you're going to get it.
Here it is, yeah.
My dad's been dealing with fucking bladder cancer for like 2 years now, and it's just like, Jesus Christ. That's
got to be rough.
It is rough
because
he's funny because he's always like, oh, they got to put that thing in my dick, and they got to put all the chemicals in me to but he's a fighter, and but it's rough. It's like, once you get it, it's hard to get away from it,
to get rid of that, for sure. But no,
I don't know. But roaming restrooms, dude, it's a good thing. I think it's gonna be rad.
We hope so. We hope we can make people's weddings a little better, and it's funny, your guests will remember a bad restroom situation, and they'll remember a good one. Like, I talk to people all the time, like, oh, we went to a wedding that had those, and they're not talking about the food, they're talking about how cool the bathroom was. So like, hopefully we can provide that and be better than a porta-john. That's what Holly always says. What she kept saying at the wedding show, better than a porta-john. So
it's way better than a porta-john.
So
I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks so much for having me.
See you later, guys.
See ya.